I actually heard something. It was in the book, The Compound Effect, which is something that blew my mind and that I really loved. The author was talking about what is the percentage of responsibility that each partner should have in a relationship. Everybody would say 50-50, right? And he said, no, 100%. You should take 100% of the responsibility, because the only person you can control and the only person you can change is yourself. And you are 100% responsible for yourself. And that blew my mind, and I changed the way I saw life completely.
Welcome to Secrets of a Sugar Daddy. Here's your host, Marcus.
Welcome to another episode of Secrets of a Sugar Daddy, the #1 sugar dating podcast in the world, where we pull back the curtains on the good, the bad, and Lily,
the shocking.
So shocking stories of sugar dating. Have you got acclimated back to U.S. time from your big European vacation?
I finally feel normal again. No more jet lag.
No more waking up at 3 a.m?
No. But I am kind of exhausted because I've been driving back and forth 3 hours to my hometown because we've just had a death in the family and we have so much going on. We're planning a funeral. It's been crazy.
Yeah. And then you stayed out late last night.
Yeah.
What'd you do last night?
I hung out with the party animals.
Lily hung out with me and Alejandra and Trucker.
Yep.
And we went and saw Nickelback.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
and Brantley Gilbert. And I don't know who else. Yeah, it was really good.
He was good. I had never heard of him or saw him. He's kind of in the Nashville scene, I guess, or the rockabilly. His music was as hard or harder rock than most rock bands.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was very entertaining. He was a great singer.
Very patriotic.
Super
musician.
Patriotic, yeah.
I love that.
Nickelback was fun, though, right?
Yeah.
You know what I really loved about them?
What?
They interacted with the audience.
Yes.
I've been to a lot of concerts and shows where they just get up and sing, and they don't really talk to the audience much. I mean, after every song, him and his guitarist, they're talking, they're just laughing, they're interacting, pointing at people.
Well, and it was really cool because at one point he picked a random girl out of the audience to come up and sing a song with him.
But it wasn't the girl that flashed her chest.
Nope.
Those were some big boobs, weren't they?
And that was right on the big screen.
Yeah.
All the children saw
the stadium went crazy.
Oh, gosh. And there was a lot of kids there, too.
I want to be a rock star.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was a great show. Anyway, what we did is we got 4 tickets to a private suite there at Footprint Arena. Now, this is the same area that we are treating giving away 8 sugar baby packages in November. We'll give them away before then, so you still have time to enter. But we are treating 8 sugar babies, plus a lot of other people. We have a 22-person suite to Ricky Martin, Enrique Iglesias, and Pitbull in that same arena. There's not a bad seat in the house, is there?
There isn't, but I'm telling you, those party suites are the way to go. I am so spoiled. I don't want to go to a concert and sit in the regular seating anymore.
Right. And they weren't really that expensive. The upgrade, because you got food.
We had food.
All you can drink, beverages.
All you could drink, wine and beer.
Yeah. Now, the cocktails were extra, but it's all right. You had a sugar daddy pay for a few.
I may have had a couple of cocktails.
Anyway, and then before we get to our guest who's overseas, we appreciate her patiently waiting as we had some technical issues today. I want to tout out Pod Populi. This is where we record our podcast, and they are expanding rapidly around the country. I know they have some in Ohio and Florida, and they're opening up at Vegas, and they've got 2 now here in Phoenix, or 1 in Phoenix, 1 in Scottsdale, 2 in Arizona. And, you know, I thought when I started this podcast, I had my assistant, Amy. She was the original sugar baby that helped me get it started. And we looked around for different ways to record a podcast. We were going to buy the equipment, set it up out of, I guess, my home office and invite people over there. But isn't this so much better having a nice professional studio?
It's lovely.
Yeah. Have people come down, and especially here in Old Town Scottsdale, the views are great. Now, parking has gotten a little crazy lately.
The parking is horrible.
But
we need to do something about that.
Yeah, once you get parked, it's a lovely place. The studios are top notch. They help you edit. They help you release them. And then the really cool thing is they connect you with other podcasters.
That has been great.
So I want to tease this. Next week, we are connecting with another podcaster.
Yes.
And the name of her podcast is called Misunderstood with Rachel Yucatel. Now, Rachel Yucatel is a name, maybe you know it, maybe you don't know it. You Google it. She's tied in with Tiger Woods. She doesn't want to talk about that. That was 10, 12 years ago.
Keeping the past in the past.
Yeah, but there's so much more to her, and we're going to discover that. One thing I'm going to tease, she actually was paid $20,000 a month by Seeking to be a spokesperson for them. Mm-hmm. So maybe she's got some in with Brandon Wade and can get me unblocked.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Let's see.
We'll talk to her next week. But
hopefully she didn't burn that bridge. She can hook a brother up.
Yeah. So we're going to talk to her all about how she made that transition. And she actually sent us a link to one of her podcasts done in March of 2023 where she interviewed a sugar baby. Mm-hmm. So it's going to be fun. And I think she's 48 now, so she's older, but still looks amazing. And there's a lot more to her than, what's in the news. Yeah. So I think this is going to be a great opportunity. So look forward to that next week. Not to say that our current guest doesn't have a lot to offer. But
I am so excited for this.
Yeah, I showed Lily. I talked with Mel, who is our current guest from the UK. And we kind of talked about some things that we might discuss on the show. And I sent those to Lily this morning to look over. And she's like, wow, I'm really looking forward to this.
I'm ready to learn.
Because these are things that you encounter.
Teach me.
Right. So without any further ado, welcome Mel from the UK, right?
Hi. So I'm actually French, but I do live in London currently.
Oh, you're French. So
I am.
English is your second language?
It is.
Yeah. I've seen your other podcast appearances, and you have no problem being very eloquent and getting your point across in English. So I think our listeners will understand everything perfectly.
Yeah, I speak English better than French these days.
Oh, you do? Now, I'm curious because over in the U.S., learning a second language is almost like pulling teeth. I had a professor in college. He was from France, and he had a cartoon cut out on his door to his office. And it says, what do you call a person that speaks two languages? And the answer was bilingual. What do you call a person that speaks three languages? And the answer was trilingual. And then underneath it says, what do you call a person that speaks one language? And it said American.
Yeah.
Which is the majority of Americans. I do speak some Spanish, and that's a necessity when you're living on a border state.
That's a necessity when you like the brown girls.
Oh, yeah, I also like the brown girls. But that might...
He loves him some brown girls.
That might be a part of it. But anyway, that was... we kind of got off topic a little bit, but I do appreciate trying to learn another language. I do appreciate somebody that speaks languages fluently, multiple languages, because I know how tough it can be. But do they teach that early in school there in Europe, in France, and wherever?
I think I started in what would be the equivalent of secondary school, but I was terrible at English until I went to high school and decided speaking English was cool. And I kind of taught myself, actually, because I could not get it through school.
Nice.
Well, very good. So you and I connected on Instagram, and you told me a little bit about your story and some of the things that you were teaching. So why don't you give us a little background of yourself, like how old you are, and then why you tie into sugar dating?
Yeah, sure. So I'm 31 today. Kind of still getting over the 31, but
31?
Wait, is today your birthday?
Yeah. No, not today.
Okay.
As of now, she's 31.
Okay, I gotcha.
Yeah, I am. Feels like this is the age where you have to start like seriously adulting for some reason when you get over like the actual 30. But anyways, I came into sugar dating because I was in a really bad situation in my life. And for some reason, I thought it was the only way to save myself. And needless to say, I don't think this is the best way to get into it.
So you were
or the best reason to get in.
Are you saying you were having financial difficulties? And so you felt like this was your only option?
Yeah, I had this idea that I needed someone else to rescue me in a way. I was pursuing a career in the film industry and then went through a pretty traumatic event in my job where I got fired after coming out to my boss about being sexually harassed by one of my colleagues. And that completely like shattered me. And then I just couldn't get myself to like working again. And everything kind of fell apart in my life. Not to mention, I wasn't in the healthiest relationship at the time. And I wasn't making money. I ended up homeless, thankfully, never in the street. I was sleeping in someone else's living room floor for almost a year. And then my partner at the time had this brilliant idea because she was not working either. She was like, "Oh, you're young and you're pretty. You should get yourself a sugar daddy." And I was like, yeah, that's a great idea for some reason.
So how old were you at this point?
I was 25 back then.
Okay, and your friend suggested it. Were they a sugar baby also?
Not quite. She had been in the camming industry back in the days, but she had a very alternative look, let's say. And so sugar dating would have been quite difficult for her because I don't know if a lot of sugar daddies like heavily modified and tattooed women.
Well, I mean,
there's someone for everyone, and there's a fetish for everything.
And there are a lot of them on the site.
Yeah.
On the sugar daddy sites. I see a lot of very tattooed, pierced individuals. Now, me personally, the face tattoos is a little much, and I have met in person, meet and greet people with face tattoos, and I'm thinking, I can't take this person to an event with me, right? So that's a little tough.
Yeah. And it wasn't just the face tattoos. She had her eyeballs tattooed in black. She had the tongue split and lots of piercings and tattoos. It was pretty intense, hence why she did not think that she was right.
But she was a cam model?
Yes, for a while.
What is a cam model?
You know, where they do striptease and things for people, tip them.
Oh. That's okay.
Yeah,
I get it. Is it kind of like
it's kind of like soft porn or something like that? Yeah,
kind of like OnlyFans.
Yeah, it's like OnlyFans, except it's live.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Why do you act so shocked? You don't know what a cam model is?
I've never heard that. I didn't know.
I've dated so many cam models on Seeking.
You have?
I have met so many that make money through that, and basically what it is the software or the website, like Live Free Cams or whatever it is. I think there's one called Chatterbait. Anyway, they take a big split of the tips.
Oh, okay.
The guys tip them online. But you can interact with them and message them and ask them to do things. And, you know, they may do it for the right price, right?
Okay, yeah. They just might.
Did I describe that accurately, Mel?
Yeah, that's exactly it.
Not that I have seen a few.
Okay, so this friend, what was the nature of your relationship? Were you guys just friends or were you romantically involved?
We were romantically involved.
Oh.
That's what I thought you said. Yeah. And so, do you consider yourself bisexual?
Yeah, I would even go to say pansexual.
Okay.
And I don't care about gender or anything. I just like a person and that's what it is.
Okay.
Oh, okay. You know, Amy's brother is like that.
Yeah.
He's married, but I mean, he's just with who he's attracted to.
Yeah.
But this was before he got married, though.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
He kind of lived that lifestyle. Yeah. Okay. So she suggested it.
Yeah, she did. And then I did a little bit of research and found Seeking, which was called Seeking Arrangements back in the days.
Mm-hmm.
And created a profile and started talking to people on there. It was an interesting experience, to say the least.
Now, you smile when you say interesting. You want to elaborate on the interesting part?
Yeah, so there were I received a lot of weird messages, not even saying hello or... The one that I remember was, I received a message that said, "Daddy's in the bath. What do you do?"
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, that's an icebreaker.
I got
Lily,
one today.
You get those all the time,
just
don't
today.
you?
I'm exclusive with just a couple of sugar daddies right now, but I still check my messages just so I can bring stuff up on the podcast. And I got one this morning that said, and it's from a 20-something-year-old. And he said, "Are you into that stepmom role play dynamic?" Oh, God. I don't answer, but I was like, what?
Right. A lot of men just, they hide behind the computer keys and they just type off and fire any old message. Just see what kind of response they get.
They're fishing.
They're fishing. Yeah.
Yeah. I eventually got into some more serious conversations with a few people and went on a few first dates. Some of them that went decently and with some people who were respectful and polite, and some with people who were less respectful and polite, less polite. And I also ended up talking with some people who were, the moment we got off the app and like started texting on WhatsApp, it got like very weird.
Yeah.
So
that can happen.
Yeah. And I started like seeing a few people, got involved in a couple relationships, sugar relationships that lasted a little bit. I forgot to mention me and my partner at the time, we were in an open relationship, so she was totally okay with that. And then there was even one actually where we both kind of dated the guy.
Oh.
And he invited us actually for a whole month to the Canary Islands to stay in one of his flats. And like, that was a very welcome holiday in the middle of all the financial distress. But none of them really lasted very long, just because I think the mindset that I was in at the time wasn't quite right. And because of that, I probably attracted the wrong people. And overall, the most serious sugar relationship I had was with this guy who lived in LA but traveled regularly to the UK. And we had a really good thing going. And then he ended up getting really busy and really stressed. He would take out his stress on me. And then we were trying to plan a trip to Thailand, but then he booked the wrong times for the flights. And there started, like, I don't know, things started happening that made me feel like he was seeing me as less than, because he would like, okay, yeah, we're going to Thailand, and I booked myself in first class and I booked you in coach.
Whoa.
And then he was like, oh, do you have a driver's license so you can drive us around in Thailand? And I was like, excuse me?
Wow.
That's one thing Alejandra would never put up with.
Oh.
She loves to be chauffeured around.
Same.
And I see it so many times where a car will pull up and then the man gets out of the passenger seat and the woman is driving, and it just floors me. Like, why is she
exactly like Alejandra? When
Yeah.
we go anywhere, even in my car, I make you drive.
I know, right? Here's the
I'd
keys.
much rather be
Yeah.
the passenger.
Right.
Yeah,
Same
that's very disrespectful. You were right to feel
Yeah.
upset.
Yeah. And so, I mean, that led up to an argument, and the relationship ended there. But I am grateful for one thing, though, is he was a serial entrepreneur and investor, and he mentored me on some business things, and which, like the seed that was planted that started my business that I have today. And also he helped me massively improve my money mindset by suggesting books to me. And for that, I am grateful, even
there
though
you
the rest
go.
was a little bit.
That's good to
Yeah.
hear. I like that.
So what
You gotta
is
take the good out of everything.
Yeah. What is your business?
So I have my own company called Helographic, where I work as a life and mindset coach. And I am a trained neurolinguistic programming master, hypnotherapist, and I'm also a tarot reader.
Now, we
Nice.
will put a link to her website at the bottom of this episode so you can look for that. But you, in the talking points and things that we talked about, you really stressed that you like for people to be in the right mindset going into
Yeah.
sugar dating. And I think you even said that you had a seminar with some sugar babies.
Yeah, I actually just held, a couple of weeks ago, I held a self-empowerment seminar for a group of sugar babies, which was very enlightening because I sent them out a questionnaire beforehand to see how I could help them the most. And one of the questions I asked in there was, what was the reason they got into sugar dating. And 90% of the replies were, I need money to support myself and my family. Yeah. And this is the mindset that I was in when I got into sugar dating. And it was a multiple choice answer questions. And I added one in there that said, I think I'm hot, good company, and I like being spoiled, which I think should be more of the type of mindset that is right to get into a sugar relationship. Tell me if you think I'm wrong.
No, you're right.
And only one person said that.
Out of how many?
Out of 14.
Wow.
Yeah.
So these girls were having some self-esteem issues as well as financial issues.
Yeah. And I think the two go together in a way.
They sure can. This sounds like fascinating work. Was this a virtual seminar or coaching session?
Yeah. It was a virtual seminar with sugar babies from a little bit from everywhere, actually, mostly in the US, but there was someone from Asia, someone from the UK, someone from Sweden. It totally happened randomly that I started talking to one of the organizers of this group, and he was like, I'm talking to all these sugar babies and they need help with their mindset because they're always getting scammed. They're getting really depressed and disheartened, and they're losing hope that things can get better for them. And
it happens. Yeah. I think a lot of the women on that site really are not in a great mindset. What would you say is the biggest thing that they need to change to get in a good mindset?
I believe it starts with self-worth, because when you are in a situation of despair where you're like, I need money now, you have no boundaries. You're willing to do just about anything when it comes to survival. Your self-worth is down the drain.
Mm-hmm.
I actually considered and even went on to continue to go on another date with someone who behaved like an absolute pig to me, just because I was like, I need money. My boundaries just disappeared. My self-worth was like, well, if this is what I'm worth, this is what I got to do. And so I really think it starts with self-worth and like the way you see yourself. And the mistake that a lot of sugar babies do, I think, is they think they have to agree to anything to get the money, where in fact, the more self-worth you have and the more value you see in yourself, the more you can attract a man or a sugar daddy that will actually treat you respectfully, and someone who also respects themselves and will like want to support you and take care of you.
All right, so here's something that works that drives men crazy, but it works, is when a sugar baby doesn't put out on the first date or even the second date. They kind of string them along a little bit and they tease them a little bit and say, don't worry, but I just want to get to know you better. You've done that, right?
Yeah.
Lily?
I have.
That you've told people, look, I don't, and actually Kimmy's done it too.
Uh-huh.
It's going to be 5 dates.
Yeah.
And you know what happens? Men actually do earn your respect, because even though we're wired to be ready to go all the time, and them not getting what they want from you right then and right there, it does earn some respect. I hate to say it because, I'm one of those guys a lot of times,
And I think it's because when there's something that you can't get straight away, that you have to like work a little bit harder at it, you see more value in it, right?
Yeah, you definitely see more value on it. Alejandra and I were talking about this morning. So our 1-year anniversary is next week. We've taken it very slow. And I've talked about that multiple times. Mm-hmm. We just haven't rushed a relationship. She's still dated other people. I've still dated other people. I am not rushing her into exclusivity. And even though now she's kind of starting to suggest it on her own, we haven't got there exactly yet, but I think she's like slowly spending more and more nights over at my place. As a matter of fact, this week she told me, I just went through to the other 2 or 3 guys. Well, one guy she was seeing me plus 3 other guys.
Okay.
Or that she'd met recently. It wasn't nothing serious, but she'd met 3 other guys. Anyway, one of them bowed out, said, hey, I got a girlfriend. I'm not going to do this anymore. And she's like, okay. She didn't have a connection anyway. And then the other two had been messaging her or something. And so she went in and didn't even answer their text for a while and then just finally said, hey, you know what? I just don't think this is going to work out. So she's just been slowly weaning them away. And I didn't have to do anything. I didn't pressure her to get rid of these guys or anything. And that's what taking it slow does, because she didn't feel forced to do this. And many guys want to force a girl into a relationship so fast, force them into exclusivity, force them into being their one and only. And
that's
it's
how
just,
Scorpio was with me.
yeah, and they move so fast.
So fast. And it just got suffocating and scary.
Yeah. And he was throwing money at you.
Yeah.
Which felt nice.
Yes.
But it still wasn't complete.
It doesn't compensate for the other things that you need.
Right. Fortunately, you are not in a desperate situation. You're doing this because you love to do it.
Yeah.
And you enjoy the lifestyle.
Well, honestly, I do it because I find higher caliber men for the most part, but I'm not one of those desperate who'll take just anything that she can get. And have I made mistakes on sugar dating? Yes, I have. I've chosen unwisely a time or two.
Yeah.
And as soon as I figure that out, no matter what they're offering me, I bow out gracefully and just say, it's not the right fit for me.
So Mel, when you're coaching these people, how do you get them? And a lot of them are in desperate situations. I get girls messaging me all the time. Hey, can I see you today? I've got to pay rent tomorrow and I'm short this much. Can I see you today? They're not just asking for a handout. I mean, they want to go on a date, but I know basically they're in it just for the money. They're desperate. And it gives me some control and some power over them just automatically. How do you coach somebody like that? That's a tough situation, and I get it.
Yeah, it's totally a tough situation. And, sometimes when you have to pay rent and it's due tomorrow and that's your only option, what else are you going to do, right? So I think one of the first things is finding a sense of security and safety within yourself, whatever that means. And if it's, finding another way to support yourself financially that doesn't rely on you breaking all of your boundaries for someone, then it makes a little bit more sense. But I think one of the issues is so many people are so focused on the lack mentality and they're focused on what they don't have. And they have this need energy that makes them always in need. I don't know if you're familiar a little bit with the law of attraction or manifestation, but the energy you're in attracts more of that. Because I'm going to go a little bit nerdy here, but your subconscious mind, your subconscious programming, if you're programmed to see only lack in your life, that's what you attract more of, because you filter reality through your subconscious programming. It creates a filter and that's all you see. And when you don't notice any form of abundance or safety in your life, when you don't have that sense of that belief that everything is abundant and that there are many opportunities around you, you'll just keep on trying to go for the things that you believe you can have. And you'll keep having this identity of, well, this is all I'm worth. And so you just keep attracting the same shitty opportunities in a way.
Yeah.
I don't know if any of that made sense.
Yeah. So there's some kind of saying that if you always do what you've always done, you'll always
get what you've always got.
Yeah. Yeah. So that makes total sense. So in your notes to Marcus, there was a reference to something you call an internal glow up to transform your reality. What is this and how do you accomplish it?
Okay, so this is the thing. Most of the time when people are looking to change something in their lives, they will try to change their behavior and their environment. Those are the two main ones that people try to change. So for example, let's say you want to get into sugar dating and you want to attract a high caliber man who will give you a healthy allowance and who will treat you right and support you. A lot of sugar babies would go and start hanging out in different places and maybe dress differently. But the way they see themselves, who they believe they are, is still the same. And I'm going to use my story here because I believed who I saw myself as, my identity at the time was, I'm homeless, I'm worthless, nobody can deal with me. And who do I attract? Well, I attract people who don't want to deal with me, who just want to take advantage of me and then throw me away. But when you change your identity and you start seeing yourself as the worthy person, you start seeing yourself as the type of person who is valuable to a high caliber sugar daddy, the type of person who is, because at the time I wasn't just homeless, I was great company and I was great at having deep and interesting conversations, which is one of the compliments I got a lot from the sugar daddies I was dating at the time. But I didn't see all of those things in myself. The story that was running in my mind was this stub story of like, I'm worthless, I'm homeless, my life is shit, I depend on someone else to pay my bills of that time.
So did you have any family that you could turn to for emotional and financial support?
Not really.
Okay.
I wasn't in good terms with my family back then. It's a whole complicated story where I grew up kind of on my own with my parents because they had a huge fight with everyone else in the family. I had never met my half-sisters. I had started realizing everything that happened in my childhood. So I wasn't in good terms with my parents either because of that. So I was pretty alone at the time. And
did you say something about the partner you were with at the time wasn't very supportive or uplifting, the one that suggested that you try sugaring?
No, okay, let's call it the way it is. She was abusive.
Okay, all right.
Both physically and emotionally.
I sensed that.
Yeah. And I mean, clearly she was also a narcissist. And I'm not just saying that, she was actually diagnosed with narcissist traits by a psychotherapist. And she also had some paranoia in there and borderline personality disorder. And let's say I was an easy target at the time because I was completely broken down. And I was still an addict, an alcoholic when we met also, which didn't help. She was not helping with my self-worth either. And it felt kind of like she was selling me off to make money. I even remember this one time she said, oh, you should go and ask this sugar daddy for this jewelry I want.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so she wanted me to get jewelry from the sugar daddy for her. Yeah, because she refused to work as well, which was not great.
So are you in a healthy relationship now?
I am now. So grateful for that. And it actually all started because I decided to change my mindset because I was tired of getting scammed and just dating people who were taking advantage of me and like abusing me. And I'm actually really grateful for my sugar dating experience because somehow one day Googling, I can't remember exactly what I Googled, but I Googled something along the lines of how to get a high caliber sugar daddy or something like that. A respectful
Same.
sugar
Yeah,
daddy.
that's what
how
Lily
I found
did.
Right?
it. Yeah.
And here we are.
Here we are. My advantage, though, is I didn't do it out of financial desperation or lack of self-esteem because those were both stable components of my life. Could I use financial assistance? Yeah, I'm by no means wealthy, but I'm okay. But I was just tired of dating losers. I did the same thing. I Googled, how do I meet an educated, high caliber, sophisticated man online? And there it is.
Yeah.
Sugar daddies are us.
And I actually ended up finding this lady called Anna Bay. I don't know if you've heard of her. She has a YouTube channel called School of Affluence. Well, it was called School of Affluence back then. She's kind of changed what she does. with time. But back then, she had a YouTube channel, a very popular YouTube channel. She was a certified matchmaker, and she had a lot of content on how to attract, like how to be a high caliber woman and how to get into an affluent lifestyle and how to meet wealthier men and like date wealthier men. And a lot of that was about mindset and how you see yourself and what you believe about yourself. And that changed a lot of things for me, including letting go of my sub story and starting to see the value in myself. And then that's kind of how I attracted my current partner, who is an awesome guy.
How long have you been together with this new one?
We've been together for 2.5 years now.
The thing about adversity and hard times and getting taken advantage of and just being beaten is either you can wallow in it or you can become stronger through it. This podcast.
Did you just say Waller?
Yeah.
You're so from Texas.
But this podcast came about because of that reason. I went through a very difficult relationship breakup and my mindset was fucked up.
He was wallering in it.
I had anxiety, just like I was literally shaking in the morning, and I was drinking to stop the shakes. And I'm not even a drinker, right? So
no, you aren't.
I was trying to find something to stop the pain.
You're trying to self-medicate.
Self-medicate. Yeah. Anyway, I did the research. I did the inner, I guess, the building back. You know, I watched lots of YouTube videos with psychotherapists and relationship coaches. I would type in my feelings and these amazing videos would pop up. And a lot of them were very similar. They'd have tidbits of information that were different, but most of them were saying the similar thing. So I'm thinking, okay, they're all saying this, so it must be pretty accurate. And it has. It's turned out to be very accurate. So I came out of that whole adversity a stronger, better person. And that is why this podcast was even born, is because I feel like I made so many mistakes and I got sucked into so many things that I shouldn't have, but these were learning experiences. So we all go through those. And I look back at it now and I'm thankful for it. It hurt like hell then, and it wasn't pretty and it wasn't fun. But I come out of it and I'm thinking, I'm just such a stronger person. It's kind of like, you know, in your gym, you're tearing down your muscle to bring it back even better and stronger than it was. So is that kind of how you look back at your relationships now? Are you at that point yet?
100%. Yeah.
And so I'm sure that was part of the catalyst to start your business, because you know what the hell you're talking about because you've been through it.
Sometimes it feels a little bit ridiculous telling my story because I'm like piling them on. I'm like homelessness, addiction, domestic violence. And I'm like, okay, that's a lot, but it hurt like hell. I can totally relate to that. It hurt like hell. And yet I would not change it. And I believe that I went through all of this for a reason and that it made me the person I am today. And it completely changed my mindset and it changed my life. And I realized how I was at the time going into a career I wasn't really fully passionate about. And now I found what really lights me up, and it's to help other people so they don't have to figure it all out on their own, so they don't have to do the same mistakes I made. And that is kind of why when you followed my Instagram page, that's kind of why I messaged you and said, hey, do you want to talk about this? Because I wish that less women would go through the same shit I went through in the sugar dating world, because I think that can be an amazing experience. And I know you guys know, but a lot of people they're just not getting treated right. And that breaks my heart in a way, that so many people are out there just waiting to take advantage of these women who don't have a lot and are just trying to make ends meet.
We see it every day. We talk about it every day. Lily encounters it. All my co-hosts and guests, we talk about some of these things that the men say and do and the pressures they put on these women, and they don't have to put up with it. But we get it. People are desperate, but there's so many options out there. And like I said, I get people calling me or messaging me around the first of the month. Is that my problem or her problem? That was really bad planning on her part to wait till the very last minute to try to figure out what this. So we got to figure out a way to teach people, how to plan their month, how to budget their money, how to become more responsible about things. And I used to be nice about it, but now I call them out. Like I just tell them flat out, you need to be more responsible. You cannot be, your bad planning. Or there's a saying, your bad planning doesn't constitute an automatic emergency on my part.
Failure to plan on your part does not create an emergency on my part.
Right. So I think that's a very important thing about anybody that's, especially sugar dating, but I mean, just in life can go hand in hand there too. I know Alejandra is very good and financially responsible at that stuff. So that's why I enjoy spending so much time with her, is because I don't have to worry about these last minute requests or like, hey baby, can you send me $200? I can't pay my credit card bill this month or whatever. Right. I never hear anything like that.
Yeah.
So it's turned into a nice long-term arrangement because I do help her out financially every single week. We don't even hardly talk about money anymore. And I don't have to worry about getting these requests that drive men crazy. It does. But then men now know that they hold the power and that they can control this girl. And so that just makes for bad situations.
Yeah. I was actually going to get to that. I think one of the most important things, and this is one of the principles that we learned when we learned neurolinguistic programming, is you are in charge of your mind and therefore your result. And what it says is you are responsible for your mind and for your life. But a lot of people live as victims, kind of like life happens to me. Oh yeah, rent happened to me and I don't have enough money to pay it.
Right.
Yeah, I know, right? And they just don't take responsibility for it. And they're just waiting out there for someone else to take responsibility for them. And that's a hard pill to swallow. But if you take responsibility for your life, everything changes. Because in every situation you're put in, every challenges you face, every shitty relationships you end up in, you have a huge responsibility into it. You're playing a part into it. And I actually heard something, it was in the book, The Compound Effect, which is something that blew my mind and that I really loved. The author was talking about what is the percentage of responsibility that each partner should have in a relationship. Everybody would say 50-50, right? And he said, no, 100%. You should take 100% of the responsibility, because the only person you can control and the only person you can change is yourself, and you are 100% responsible for yourself. And that blew my mind, and I changed the way I saw life completely. And now, I mean, I do throw myself pity parties every now and then, but they don't last very long anymore, because I know I have to do something, because no one is coming to rescue me. And I feel so much more safety within myself. I feel so much more grounded, because I know I have my back and I will figure it out no matter what. And I have figured it out through all the shit I went through. And when you do that, you're unbeatable. When you take responsibility, you're unbeatable. But it's not easy. It's not an easy pill to swallow. It's not easy to say, well, I played a part in that shitty situation that happened to me.
You know, I was just actually having the same exact conversation with Trucker this morning. And I have a relative who's constantly needing to be rescued, who's constantly a victim, who is constantly spiraling down a path of depression and anxiety. I feel so helpless. I come from a place of practicality, planning, logical, let's solve this. And I try so hard with this person to lead them in that direction and can't get through. I just can't get through to her. So I don't even know what to do. I actually went and got a reading the other day when I was in Sedona, and I said, I feel good where I am in my life, but I feel helpless to help this person that I love and I care about, and I do not know what to do for her. It's rough watching someone absolutely circle the drain because they're not willing to put in the work, or they don't have the self-esteem to think things could ever be better, or that there's a light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is there a way to shake somebody into reality, or you just kind of have to let them come to the water on their own?
Okay, so first of all, you can't change somebody else. That's a hard fact, and sometimes it hurts because you really care for that person and you really want to help them. The best thing you can do is to lead by example. That's the best thing you can do, because if you can't shake them, like, you can give them all of the advice you want. If they're not ready to hear it, and if they're not ready to do something about it, then it's not going to get through. I mean, it took me a long while and a lot of people telling me to realize that, I was in an abusive relationship because I was letting that person treat me like shit. I talked to a friend and I was like, yeah, she just threw a desk chair at me. And she was like, you need to leave right now. And I stayed for another year. I just wasn't ready to hear it. My therapist at the time had to tell me every session, every week, a whole 6 months. She had to tell me, where's Melissa? Because she's not here. There's no space for her in this current relationship. Like, there's nothing left about her. And, eventually it hit me. Eventually it hit a point where I was like, I've had enough. I deserve better than that. I'm worth more than that. But I had to come to the realization on my own. I think a lot of people tried to get through to me and tried to tell me. And what did I do? I just shut those people out because I was comfortable in my misery and just complaining about it and just feeling like shit.
So you said you did a lot of research and reading and watched videos that helped you change your life. If there was one resource that I could offer to this person in my life that I just see hurting so desperately, like, is there a book I can get her? Is there a documentary I can show her? Is there a person she should follow on YouTube? What can I do for her?
I mean, it's kind of hard to say without knowing what the main issue is, because there's so many different areas of personal development,
I'm going to say lack of self-esteem is huge.
Yeah.
And lack of practicality.
Yeah. If she's open to it, the thing that triggered the start of the biggest change in my life was I did a hypnosis recording by Marissa Peer. She's a RTT practitioner, rapid something therapy. I forgot. And this hypnosis was all about never, ever not believe that you're not enough. So she had a whole thing that said, you are enough. And that was huge for me and there's something about hypnotherapy or NLP, or there's another form of therapy called rapid resolution therapy out there that talks directly to the subconscious mind. So anything that talks directly to the subconscious mind will have a much bigger impact because it will go directly into your belief system. I don't know if you know the difference between the conscious and the subconscious, or if I'm just getting ahead of myself here.
Well, I think we're probably pretty much aware of it, but you might want to explain it to our listeners if you can.
The conscious mind is only responsible for your immediate awareness. So what you see, what you hear, what you're conscious of, the thoughts you might have in your head in that moment. And then the subconscious is responsible for everything else. Your memories, your beliefs, your values. It holds all of the filters you see reality and experience reality through. It also runs your body. And because it holds all of the beliefs and values and your identity and all of that, it's responsible for creating 95% of your life. So you think you take conscious actions and that's what is creating your reality. It's not. Because all the conscious actions you're taking from the belief system and the identity you have of yourself. So when you work directly with the subconscious, you're like rewiring the control panel you're like reprogramming inside a computer that doesn't work quite right. You want to go like into the code and rewire that. And so anything like that, I would recommend.
Okay. So now you said you listened to a recording. Was this something off of YouTube or? And who was the woman? Marie Pierre? Is that what you said?
Marisa Peer was her name. She had this whole campaign about you are enough. The issue is low self-worth and low self-confidence.
How do you spell her last name?
P-E-E-R. Yeah, P-E-E-R.
Okay. I'm writing it down.
All right. Well, we have come to the end of the hour. And what is it, about 9:30 over there in UK? It's kind of late.
8:30.
8:30? Okay. Well,
Yeah.
Thanks for staying up. We appreciate that. We know there was a little time difference, and we do appreciate you reaching out and letting us interview you, because these things are so important. A lot of times we like to talk about the funny, the shocking, the bad stories of sugar dating. But, you know, whether you're sugar dating, whether you're normal dating, all of this is very, very important. It's an important piece. And understand that bad times are a part of life.
Yeah.
And when you look at them in a different way, that, hey, I can learn something from this. I can grow from this experience. I can become a better person from this experience. I don't like it, but this is real world. This is real life. Once you get that mindset, everything's different.
Tell us again if there are sugar babies or women in general out there that wanted to utilize your services and benefit from your coaching. How would they get a hold of you?
Yeah, so I'm on Instagram at Helographic, which is the name of my company. It's a mix between healing and holographic. I'm kind of a nerd and I love looking into
So
the neuroscience.
helographic, yeah.
Yeah, Helographic. And then my website, helographic.com, as well, to find all of my services. But Instagram is where I'm the most active. I post a ton of free resources on self-empowerment and personal growth on there, and like how to work with your subconscious, how to feel more confidence, how to feel empowered, how to get more resilient. So definitely get on there.
Great. Well, I would highly recommend you visiting helographic.com and her Instagram. You can't go wrong.
One more question. Are you still sugar dating?
She's got a guy.
No, I am not. No.
Oh, this is an exclusive committed relationship.
It is an exclusive committed relationship.
Was he a sugar daddy?
Not really. I mean, let's say he supported me a lot financially at the beginning of our relationship because I was still in a pretty rocky place, but I wouldn't call it like, it was never like, yeah, we're in a sugar relationship. It was more like,
Awesome.
I really care about you and I want to support you.
That's what I aspire to achieve, is a solid, committed relationship. I'm going to find my person. Marcus doesn't think I'm going to find my person because he thinks I'm too picky. But you know what? I know what I need to be happy, and so I'm sticking to it.
There you go. All right.
Yeah, exactly. There's nothing like too picky, right?
That's what I say.
It will happen. Yeah.
We'll keep you updated.
All right. Well, Mel and I connected on Instagram. You can connect with us on Instagram at Secrets of a Sugar Daddy. We get the messages there. Both, Lily, you get those, right?
I used to, but I think I got logged out and I don't know how to log back in.
Okay.
I'm not really good at social media.
We'll have to get you logged back in because they come directly to Lily and myself. We read them, we discuss them, and who knows, you might be our next guest on our show like Mel was. Again, Mel, we appreciate you coming on. And I guess until next episode, Lily.
Until next time.
All right. Oh, and it's going to be a good one.
Oh, yeah. It is going to be a good one.
Rachel Yucatel.
Misunderstood.
There you go. All right. Bye-bye.
Thanks for joining us. If you'd like to connect or even be on the show, we'd love to hear from you at secretsofasugardaddy.com.